What's good, YouTube? Here to bring you my Spright deck that I've been climbing the Season 17 ladder with since the release of the new selection pack. I got to Diamond 5 rather quickly with this deck list, so I'm going to just go through it all and show you my reasoning for each card. So starting off, we got 3 DD Crows. This is purely because of all the tier limit cards that are, or decks that have been roaming the ladder. I kid you not, I've dealt probably like 50% of my games still with tier limits, especially going from Platinum to Diamond. So yeah, I'm running 3 DD Crows for that reason. Next we got Effect Veiler. This is purely for the Kikalos and any generic effect negation you need, but mostly for Kikalos because we just want to negate that if they were able to summon that off on your first turn when you're going second. Next we got 3 Maxi. This is very standard, 3 Maxis you need in every deck list. Never a bad card unless you're going against Flunderies, which is just a whole different discussion. Next we got 3 Nimble Beaver. I still run the 3 Nimble Beaver over the Swap Frogs because I just find the summoning into another Nimble Beaver just being a lot better and a lot faster to get into your plays. To just be a lot better, so yeah, we're running 3 of those. Next, I took out the capsules that I've been running from last season with Aperia. This is because it's just way faster because on summon you get to just draw a card. So usually if you're, depending on what your hand looks like, this is what you're going to be summoning off of Gigantic Spright with. So yeah, just 1. Next we got Melfi Caddy. We're running the Melfi package in it. It just works. It helps against the tier limit matchup. You get to go into Herald of the Arc-like with the Melfi package, which that being the Caddy and the Penny. Next we got 3 Spright Blue, the starter of the deck. You just search another card, another Spright monster specifically, and then you can just extend your plays that way. Also the target you want to be using off a Spright starter. Next we got 3 Spright Jet. This is to search any of the spells or traps. Mostly I'm pretty sure it's just spells. Yeah, spells, traps that from the Spright engine. And yeah, usually we get starter or we get smashers depending what our hand looks like. Or if we're going second and like they just have a wide open board and you have your hands full of Spright monsters, you go for the Gamma Burst because that's just an easy OTK right there. Definitely won a few games like that. Next we got Spright Pixies. I'm running Pixie because it's just good to have those bodies of Spright monsters to special summon onto the field. Just being able to swarm with all the Spright monsters is just rather helpful. Also, it doesn't help. It doesn't have a bad effect where you can just get over another opponent's monsters like through battle. Like for example, if they summon I want to say Avermax. I'm gonna list it on the screen. It's that Link 4 that's like really hard to deal with over battle. Like I was able to use Pixie to get over that monster through Pixie's effect. So yeah, I still think it's a great card. I know some people cut this off just because they think Gamma Burst is enough, but yeah, I still run the Pixie, still good. Next we got 2 Spright Reds. I run 2 because I just want to get the opportunity to special summon them in my opening hand as much as possible. Also, the effect negation is just so good with their effect. And speaking of the monster effect, we got Spright Carrot for the spell and trap negation, which is very, honestly, I'm finding this card to be a little more helpful than the Spright Red. Because with Spright Red, you're able to negate evenly match, which I've been noticing a lot going on in the ladder. Like Flunderies runs that card. I want to say Exosister also runs that card. I've definitely seen that. And just a whole plethora of other monsters. Plus with like the new cards being released with like Goaty and Black Wings. We also got Naturia being like a little more presented in the ladder. Definitely like having evenly matched to be negated with all that, it definitely helps. So next is Melfi Penny. This is literally what I was mentioning before with Caddy to go into the Heralds of the Arc-Light. Next we got 3 Ash Blossoms, very standard hand trap. You just run it in every single deck. Next 2 Call by the Grave. This is good for the tier limit matchup to banish their cards or to just get rid of any of your opponent's hand traps that might stop you from your plays. Next we got 2 Spright Starters. This is just the best card to open up with in your hand. You always want to go for Spright Blue. What's nice is it's a quick play effect, so sometimes like if the Chain Maxi, like if they see your plays are going to be like normal summon to level 2 and the sense are going to be on Sprites, they just throw the Maxis really quick and that's when you can change Spright Starter, so it's nice that it's a quick effect. So yeah, 2 of this, always going to run 2. If we can run 3, we would. It would utilize my usage because I already have 3 copies of it. Next we got Spright Gamma Burst. This is what I mentioned before with the OTKs. Very helpful card. 2 Spright Smashers. I run 2 because it's just a nice card to have either like when you're going second and then you can search it off for your following turn, or it's just like, yeah, like honestly just 2 is just great. Like this card is just too good to just banish, not targeting banish specifically opponent's card, so it just helps with that. Next, we got two evenly matched. I feel like the meta is just really weak to this card right now. Like, from all the decks I've listed before, this card just helps with all those matchups. You can banish your opponent's entire fields because every board now is just like monsters plus your back row. So yeah, this card just works very well, especially against tier limits. Next, we got 3 Infinite and Perm. This is just generic monster negation. Next card is Soul Drain. I added this specifically because of the tier limits, because they're definitely very present in this ladder meta. So on top of the 3DD Crow, Soul Drain just completely wipes them out. This is kind of sacky, especially because you need to go first and such, but definitely helps against that matchup. Also, it's really nice against Floowandereeze because they definitely are probably the second most present archetype in the ladder, so definitely running Soul Drain. Just one. I do have 2, but I feel like 1 is just enough. Hopefully, and this is why I also run the Hyperia, because it, like, depending on what your board's like, you can always draw into these cards. So you can draw into like a DD Crow or the Soul Drain, and it just makes it a little more consistent. And yeah, this is definitely sacky, but I definitely won plenty of games with just opening up Soul Drain. Onto the extra deck, we have one of the Herald Arclight. This is, as I mentioned before, with Melfi, the Melfi package. Melfi Penny specifically, though, sometimes if you open up this card, which we don't want to, if you open up this card and you open up a bunch of other Spright monsters, you could definitely just turn 1, go into Herald of the Arclight, because I do find sometimes Caddy being a little slow, especially against the tier limits. You can just have Penny and another Spright monster go into Herald the Arclight turn 1, and it's just great because a lot of the decks in the ladder really run the Shizu engine, which they just lose. Like, this Herald of the Arclight just counters that whole strategy completely. Next, we got 2 Djinn Buster. I really go into this, honestly. I find that just having the 1 effect negation plus a Smasher just being enough, but, you know, sometimes it'll come up. Next, we got Cat Shark. This is, again, to help with the OTK, especially going into the next card, Gigantic Spright. This is just obviously what the archetype revolves around. You know, special summon a level 2, depending what your hand's looking like. And this is what's nice about the deck. It's just so versatile, and like, you just really got to know. It has a skill ceiling of just like knowing what to special summon from your deck using Gigantic Spright, depending what your opening hand is. But yeah, you can special summon any level 2, so you can special summon Caddy if you have like a good enough hand with the rest of the Spright monsters and Hyperia to just get the free draw. We'll probably come up in the replays that I'll show you like what you'll special summon off of Gigantic Spright. So we got 1 Zeus. This is to activate off your XYZ monsters that attack. I'll be honest, I rarely go into this card because like just a lot of the meta game that I've been playing has just been tier limits, and tier limits like don't care about this card at all. You can send all their monsters and spells and traps to the grave and they'll get their effects off. So unless you're playing against a non-tier limit deck, Zeus is really not that great. But other than that, you still want to keep them in case that does come up. Hopefully your luck is better than mine, not running into tier limits like I do. Next, we got Nightmare Phoenix. Next, we got IP Masquerena. This is to go with your Spright Elf, and then you can probably go into Underworld Goddess or your other Link 4 monsters or Nightmare Unicorn. Depends on the matchup that you're playing against. Next, we got Codebreaker Virus Swordsman. This is specifically if I'm going against a deck that runs Baguska, because this card is like the best level 2, Link 2 monster that's over 2000 attack. And generic. Next, we got 2 Spright Elves. This is for the recovery that the deck can do. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You always want to end on this card on your opening board. Next, we got Nightmare Unicorn. This is just to shuffle any card your opponent controls. Appaloosa Go the Goddess. This is a generic of Link 4 that we can summon off of IP Masquerade. We really don't go into this. Next is Axis Code Talker. This is again to help with OTKs. Again, another card I don't really go into. If I had the Avermax card, I would definitely run that over Axis Code Talker, but I just don't, so yeah, I have Axis Code Talker. And finally, we have Underworld Goddess. This is to get rid of like any tower type of monster that your opponent may have that's like unaffected. Like Blackwings are kind of present right now in this meta, since they just recently released all their support. They have that, I forgot what the monster is called, but it's like their synchro, it's like their level 10 synchro that's just like unaffected by a lot of monster effects. So Underworld Goddess is just a nice answer to that card. And yeah, that's it for the deck list. Let's just hop into the replays right now. Alright, so I'm going to be showing you replays that I have in Platinum 1 because I find that to be a little more sweaty rank compared to other ranks. The sweatiest rank being Diamond 2 because, you know, just getting to Diamond 1 is what people really want to achieve at the end of every season. But yeah, these are all Platinum 1 games, so yeah, this is my first game against Heroes, and this is going to be like, I'm going to be showing you 3 games that I had right before I got to Diamond 5. Alright, so I got to go first in this match. Unfortunately, opened up the Penny and just the Nimble Beaver, so I summoned the Nimble Beaver over everything because I can't special summon anything else. Also, I do go into Nimble Beaver first, just to mention, because I have Spright Starter in my hand, so if I normal summon and they have Max C, that's usually when I go into Spright Starter to chain, so they don't get the draw for that. And I would go into Spright Jet just to have Spright Smasher, just to have some type of interruption, but thankfully they didn't have Max C, so I'm just listing out a scenario that does come up, because I've definitely been Max C turn 1 plenty of times before. But yeah, Nimble Beaver goes through, so I go into Gigantic Spright, activate the effect, that gets Imperm, which is completely fine by me because we still have the Spright Starter. So go into Spright Blue is going to get Spright Jet, and then Jet's going to be getting Smasher. Then we're going to go into Spright Elf. Elf is going to summon out Blue. This is just to have a body on board. We don't really have a lot of interruptions, so hopefully I'm just like praying this is enough. They start off with Fusion Destiny, which was quite odd. I remember thinking that when I was playing. They go into Destiny Phoenix Enforcer. So I know like heroes try to end off with Dark Law, so I'm just like trying to. That's why I'm probably gonna be a little more reserved to see when they're gonna go for that. But this is still fine because Spright Smasher could still handle the Destiny Hero Phoenix Enforcer. So yeah, we special summon Spright Jet off of Elf, get to search the starter. They activate Malicious, and then they activate Denier. Denier's, thankfully it's an ignition effect, so I get to chain it with DD Crow to really waste it, so they only get 1 Malicious off of this. They tribute summon into Ferris. Ferris gets to search the Increase in the Spell and Trap Zone. Increase is gonna activate its effect. It's gonna get Vion. Vion's gonna get send a monster to the grave. They're gonna get the Liquid Soldier to their hand, and then Vion's going to use its other effect to search the polymerization. And then, interestingly, they use 3 material. For a second, I thought they were going to use Chimera Tech. Not Chimera Tech, Chimera Guardian. But they go into Vision Hero Trinity, which is completely fine by me. This is just able to attack 3 times. They activate the D-Force, get the Plasma. This is when they go for the attack, and this is why I decide to use the Spright Starter. They're going to chain Destiny Hero Phoenix Enforcer, which is fine by me because I have the DD Crow. So I'm just going to banish their Trinity. Then I get to DD Crow at the end phase, their Destiny Hero Phoenix Enforcer. And this is fine because usually when we end off with Elf, we were well protected because we're just able to calm off of everything. Because from here we're able to special summon another level 2 monsters, and we're just able to get another Gigantic Spright. I'm explaining all this because they're just gonna quit. Yeah, we definitely had that in the bag with all of that. So yeah, on to the next replay. Alright, so for replay 2, we have Naturia with the Vernalizers and the Shizu package. Yeah, this is definitely a very experimental, brought up deck now in the meta since the new selection pack came out. So yeah, let's just get right into it. So thankfully we get to go first again. Unfortunately, we had to summon the Penny first. They didn't activate Maxi off the normal summon, thankfully, so we were able to get the Spright Red out first, and that's why we get to negate it, and we just get to combo off with the rest of our Spright monsters. Blue's going to search Carrot, Sprite's going to search Starter. We're going to go into Gigantic Spright. And then here, this is when I summon Aperia because we already have all the Spright monsters, so there's no need. Pix is not really necessary in this moment. I'd rather have the +1 draw. So with that, we go into Spright Elf. Special summon Red. So now we have 3 disruptions in the form of the Sprites plus the Smashers, plus we're going to be able to search out Jet from Elf. So interestingly, they have Prankertops. Prankertops is going to go for Carrot. Now this had me curious that they needed to activate a spell or trap. It's probably just a spell, so I'm just like, alright, I'm going to let that through, and then I'm just going to special summon Jet with Elf, and then use the starter to get back Carrot. And then Jet's going to search another starter. Then I see they had the Vernalizer cards. Special summoning Prankertop, which is kind of a nice, neat little combo they have right there. I'm just going to negate one of their effects with red. It was their Kelbeck, because I don't want them to mill 5. So we're just going to let this all go through. They're only able to punch out 1 monster. Then they go for Nightmare Cerberus, which was quite an interesting choice. We let that resolve though. So yeah, they normal summon that way. They're gonna special summon one of those Naturias. They're gonna activate their Naturia combo. All fine by me. And then this is where they're gonna force me out with my Spright Smashers. Again, fine by me, but then they have Blessings. And they're still going to combo off into just Barkyon, which is completely fine by me. I mean, we don't have anything to really interact with the Barkyon. So yeah, Spright starters, get blue. We're just going to combo off here again. They're going to activate the Mole Cricket. It's fine by me because they're going to get the flower, but we have red to negate this and destroy it. Then we get Jet, another Smashers. Unfortunately, we don't have enough monsters to really OTK with the Spright Burst. Yeah, they're just going to see we're going to get too much advantage. Honestly, they were going to know because we're going to end off on a board that had red and carrot again. And next turn, we're definitely going to be OTKing them. So, yeah. That's how that game went. And this is my final game, of course, before reaching Diamond 5. Always have to have the most try-hard, sweatiest deck to go against right before I go into the next rank, as usual. So yeah, we have Tier Limits Ishizu, the best deck, the best archetype in the format right now. So yeah, let's just get right into it. Alright, so you're going to see right here, I'm going to be sacking them because I opened up the Soul Drain and I'm going first. Beautiful. So activate Drew Penny opening, unfortunately again. Gets a Special Summon Blue, Special Summon Jet, standard combo. This is what I was saying right here. I go for the Arc-like because I just feel like the rest of my hand was able to combo off without the rest of the Spright cards. So that's why I just go into Herald of the Arc-light. Spright Elf. And again, you should probably just shoot for Herald of the Arc-light as soon as possible too, because I'm telling you, even though I showed 2 other replays that weren't tier limits, it's mostly been tier limits that I've been facing because people will not hop off of that deck. So yeah, we just set the Soul Drain, the Spright Smashers. They're going to activate Forbidden Droplet, seeing that Herald the Arclight completely counters it. Yeah, and then I just chain Soul Drain, and I'm pretty sure from right here they're going to, forfeit right there. And thankfully, that's how I got into Diamond 5. So, hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope to see you guys on the next one.